What's up guys, it's your boy Ru and we have got more gaming news in this one. This is a little bit less mainstream, but I figured I'd go ahead and cover this for my fellow RPG gamers out there because I do find this to be fairly valuable information here. So basically, Lost Soul Aside is getting a PS5 version. So if we look over here, the game was actually initially announced in 2016 by its sole developer Yang Bing. So I did pull up some tweets here. So first of all, this is a China hero project, so this is not a JRPG game, right? It is a Chinese game, so it's going to have a lot of different vibe to it, right? So it's going to have a different total vibe and feel, especially the art and the characters themselves. I actually put up some older tweets from the Lost Soul Aside main Twitter page. So this is actually from 2018, March 25th. They put out like some PS4 Pro gameplay video trailers. We keep going right here. This is also in 2018. This is August 2nd. So this is another new trailer, right? At that time, a new trailer. So they were actually pretty consistently working on this game. Like they were working on developing it. It wasn't a game where they announced 2016, right? And they just dropped it. So here we got a tweet from 2018. It's the same date, August 2nd. Once again, reiterating their officially uploaded new trailers. Once again, we got Yang Bing here. And yeah, so they've been developing it. One other tweet. So this is from 2019, October 10th. Okay, and then this is just basically a concept art for the game. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in a little kind of screen so we can kind of see, like, we got this little floaty thing right here, which I'm gonna get into in a little bit later. And this is the main protagonist right here. Overall environment looks pretty solid, right? The animation, the design, fairly solid. This is 2019. Okay, so remember, 2016 was the announcement. We looked at some tweets from 2018, 2019. Then this is actually the one that's recent, where I actually saw that this was going to happen. And this is basically their announcement tweet that is coming to the PS5. And this is what we have in that previous photo, but more like high def. So those are some tweets. So they've actually been in development on this game. They didn't announce it, drop it, and then just pick it back up out of nowhere. They have been developing it over the years. Hopefully it's less due to coronavirus and more due to the fact they were trying to flesh out the gameplay and the story. Because this is not a AAA game, right? They've got a smaller budget and studio, because originally it was that sole developer, but they now have a team working on it, a studio called Alt0 Games. So I did try to do some research on this studio, and I couldn't really find anything besides what I found here on Gimatsu, and basically it's all just about Lost Soul Aside. There's no other project titles, games, nothing that has to relate with Alt0 Games, and this is the first time I ever heard of this. So this game is, I'm pretty freaking sure it's definitely not a AAA game, right? AAA games being like the mainstream stuff like Call of Duty, God of War, Final Fantasy. Those are the type of games that have a much larger budget, right? They have bigger studios working on it. And those are the type of games where you're spending your money, right? Like the $60, the $70 for the PS5 exclusives, right? Like Demon's Souls, for example. So that's why I find this to be valuable information, because if they can flesh this out with the animations, more specifically with the gameplay and the story, this can be a valuable pickup, because this year there's a lot of massive big titles that are really hyped that will be coming out this year in the RPG world, right? Just to name two, we got Tales of Arise, and then we've got Chrono Kiseki for my Legend of Heroes and my Japanese fans out there that are watching this. Shout out to y'all. Okay, so what I wanted to point out before we watch the gameplay video is that this game actually uses Unreal Engine assets. So now, just in case y'all wondering, some games that use this for their gameplay, we've got Guilty Gear, Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball FighterZ. So those are like some of your fighting games. I highly doubt the gameplay will feel similar to this, but these are just potential examples of games you would have played that use the Unreal Engine. So the fact that Lost Soul Aside does use some assets from Unreal Engine for the gameplay does have me quite interested in what we can expect here. So actually, before we hop into the gameplay video, I'm on the Alt0 Games page right now. So I figured, why don't we take a look at some of these screenshots, because they do have some stuff here. So this is one thing I don't like about this layout right here for this website, is the fact that it auto scrolls and moves. It's very irritating. So this right here is the main character, dude, like, look at this. I'm literally not touching I'm not touching my mouse. Like, I'm not touching the mouse, I'm not scrolling or nothing. It just constantly moves like this. Annoying. Terrible design. Look at that. So this right here is the main protagonist, Kaiser, I believe is how you pronounce his name. So as you can see, right, China Hero Project is a Chinese game, and you can kind of see like the little Chinese influence in the characters and character design, which I honestly, I'm loving his design so far. And this little metallic, oh dude, really? So if I just move my mouse, it's just gonna scroll up like that. Wow. So this blue metallic thing to his right side, if this website does not want to move, you know what I'm saying? Like if you just want to stay right here, that'd be great. Okay. So this metallic dragon right here is his, it's a crystal dragon, and he actually uses it to fight. So we're about to see right now. So that's why I wanted to take a, quickly show you guys a shot of this guy up close and personal. All right, so we got the main protagonist right here. Okay, so this is some basic movements. So right here, I honestly, let's move it back a little bit. Let's stop it right there and let's pause it and bring it back. Alright, so let's look at this camera motion right here. So this, I'm not liking it too much. It's a little bit too, so that right there is a little bit too herky-jerky for me. It's not as smooth. Like, I like the concept behind it of changing the camera angles and the way he's moving. But I didn't like that herky-jerkiness to it or that little blur. So those are a couple of things I would like to see cleaned up before this game gets released for sure. Let's continue. Yeah, like that motion right there, it's great in the camera movement and everything. It's great concept to it, but it's a little bit too herky-jerky. It needs to be smoothed out a little bit. So that's the crystal dragon right there. So remember, so you guys aren't listening to the game audio, but this is a Chinese game. So the feel when you listen to the voice acting is going to be completely off. Okay, so the dragon just turned into a sword. Interesting. So that's how you're going to fight? Your weapon is essentially that crystal dragon right there. Okay, so now we're about to get into some gameplay. This I kind of liked right there. That transition into the battle. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's bring it back a little bit here. This game is definitely giving me Devil May Cry vibes. Did y'all just see that? Like, that's basically very similar. So let's go back a little bit here, and we'll run it back. So this transition I was actually kind of a fan of. That blade looks clean though. Yeah, see, look at that right there. I'm not sure. I'm not too much of a fan. One thing I'm noticing right now with this gameplay so far is they use a lot of like, they use a blur effect in order to show that kind of movement, right? Like how he's moving. They're trying to make it seem like he's moving fast, like too fast for you to pick up on. Like it's too fast for a mere ningen to follow. That's the kind of effect they're trying to show there by using that blur effect with his movements. Right here. Like that I don't like that right there. Even in there, see that little transition move he made? If I go back a little bit, this transition move right here, this little pivot, right now, that I'm not a fan of that. That should not have that blur. It should be a little bit smoother. Because you gotta remember, when we're playing visually, like the gameplay, like yes, colors, dynamic range, I'm a huge fan of. Showing us that kind of like that effect that he's moving fast, I like that as well, the concept of it. But it's gonna all that extra blurriness and the little flashiness that so far this what I'm seeing from this game right now is showing. I'm not a fan just because it's not good. It takes away from the gameplay battles, and now you're just focusing on like just the visuals. Let's get back to the video. Yeah, see, like it's pretty much consistent. That blur, like there's too much blur going on. Because even if I had it in higher def, it would be even worse, right? Because now you've got in high def, you've got this amazing, beautiful clarity, and then all of a sudden there's just this blur everywhere. So that's a bad combination right there. It needs to be less. So I'm not saying take it away, but I'm just saying it's got to be smoothed out, right? Like it's got to look visually more pleasing. So like right there, so one thing right now I'm noticing is a lot of these skills are extremely flashy. So what I would like to see is just a little bit less, just a tiny bit. Like all you gotta do is just lower the range of the dynamic colors, like as far as the skills specifically, like make those skills a little bit less flashy. Make it more specific, like make it more focused towards the character to highlight the character and what he's doing, rather than have it blow up the entire screen and have this lights flashing at you, colors just popping at you. Like this right here. Like that. That's fine, but all of this fire, right, like yellow and red and high and like not the darker shades but the lighter shades of yellow and red, they really show out. They really pop out of the picture image. So the fact that it's this surrounding him and you can barely even see him, like I don't like that. When I'm playing my games, I like to visually see my character, the character that I'm controlling. See, like that's too much for me. I can't see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, see, it feels a little bit, I don't want to say it feels lagged. It just feels a little bit herky-jerky, in my opinion. That could just be my laptop right now, not loading it smoothly, but it does look a little bit herky-jerky to me. See, that's a little bit better. That was a little bit better there. Yeah, see, I have no idea what just happened. Watching this, I have no idea what's going on. And I don't like that. There's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much. So one thing I do find interesting is that we don't see any like HP bar, no skill up, or any of those kind of extra displays. So I'm wondering if they haven't developed that yet, or if they're just not showing it in this trailer. Yeah, basically a common theme here is just a blur. The movement is great, it's flashy, it's action, it gets your attention, but the blur just takes away from it a little bit. Yeah, let's go ahead and I'm gonna see what else they got it off of here, but basically, long story short, it's pretty much just the blur. Fix the blur. Definitely, that's the main concern from the gameplay, what I've seen. It looks a little bit like on the spammy end, but we'll get to see like how they're going to incorporate skills, skill tree, maybe equips, accessories, and all that extra good stuff. Hopefully that's in here, because if that's not, that's a huge miss. They definitely need to add some stuff like that to give it overall give that gameplay some overall depth to it. So more gameplay right here. Yo, okay then. But again, blur. I know what they're trying to go for, but it's just a little bit too over the top. They just need to reduce it a little bit more. So like that's perfectly fine. That I like. Did he just use the sword as a board? He just used the sword as a board. Wait. Whoa. What? Okay. So these are probably what we're seeing right now. Probably some advanced skills. I'm assuming, like, let's say for example they have a skill tree. There are probably some skills you can use, like, so the crystal dragon can shapeshift into different forms of weapons, and maybe you unlock those forms as you go on in the game, and you unlock certain pieces in the story. Hopefully that's what it is, because I feel like maybe like what that first fight was like a beginning part of the game, and then this is like towards the end more. Hopefully, because that was crazy. Like, let's run that back. Yeah, look at that. He's boarding. He's skating. It's Skate the Infinity. Yeah, his weapon changed shape right there. His weapon definitely was a different shape, not to mention what that was. Whoa, what the heck was that? Run that back. I need to see that again. Yeah, this game is definitely giving me some Spanish vibes though. Spammy in terms of like, if you're not going to challenge yourselves and actually make the gameplay challenging by like setting restrictions, it feels like it's going to be like a Yeast type of game, like a Kakarot, where you can just spam your melee, spam your super attacks. Basically is what it's looking like. This man is just going to town. He's putting in the work. Look at that. Woo. All right then. Okay, so I think it's hard for me to tell because of the blur and the lower quality I'm watching this right now. But basically, I think that was the evasion skill right there. Let's bring it back. That definitely looked like an evasion. So that's the one thing I'm saying, like with the blur effect that they're doing, the way they're using it, is it's going to be hard to tell like guarding, dodging, and stuff when everything's blurred out. See, the reason why I'm saying that's a dodge is because of the time. If you notice really quick, the time semi-stops. Like, I don't really want to say stop. The time, like, slows down. Right here, as he swings, right there. That little slowing down in time. It's not a full stop, and it's not like a complete slowdown, but it's like a light little lag. Like, almost like a, so if you played Yeast games, it's almost like a flash move. Very similar. I'm not completely sure because the blur is in the colors of like the attacks, the way it covers the screen, it covers the character, and in the high action speed that's going on right now. It's very hard to distinguish some of the details of what's happening. So I would like to see that little bit tuned up for sure. So right here we got a little boss right here. So let's just quickly check this boss. Yo, this boss is gigantic. That thing is huge. That thing is massive. What is that? Yeah, so this is another reason why. So that's another reason why this is giving me like Devil May Cry vibes. Because look at this thing. It's a pure demon. It's an actual demon right here. A couple of things, like I stated when we were breaking that down, I do want to see it cleaned up a little bit, especially with that blur effect. So that's the gameplay, that's the game, that's what's coming, that's the news that we covered. I do think this is valuable information again for those of you that are where you're it's a little bit tight for your budget because of all the amazing games that are coming out, not only on like PlayStation but also for like the Switch on the Nintendo, or maybe you're an Xbox gamer. I believe there's a bunch of news for that as well. So overall, gaming is very rich right now. So budget is going to be a little bit tight for some of you, I can imagine, because that's my current situation. So the fact that this isn't a AAA game and it's going to be on a little cheaper side is valuable information. Is valuable, I think, if they can really flesh it out, because it's got the basis for a good RPG game, right? It has a Devil May Cry times Final Fantasy vibe. So if you're a fan of more so, I want to say if you're a fan of Devil May Cry, because it gives more vibes of that with the whole demonic aspects and the gameplay movement, the camera movement, the animations in the gameplay that we saw. It does give me more vibes closer to that than the Final Fantasy type game. So if you're a fan of those games, I definitely think this might be something you want to pick up here, just because, especially depending on like what the pricing is looking like and if they clean those certain things up. Because the cutscenes looking solid, who knows, looking solid. If we get any more news on this game or any other new gameplay trailers or anything of that sort, I'll be back to cover it. And there are other non-AAA games that are being worked on. The main one so I'll be looking on for some of those. Especially the one I'm on the lookout right now is Black Myth Wukong. That's the game where I think will be a massive hit. I am thinking that, and as soon as we get more gameplay video, get some articles and some information, I will be here for that. But anyways, that's it for this one. That's the game. That's the news. I hope y'all guys found it useful and helpful, and maybe give you some insight as to whether or not you may want to consider picking this up when it does come out, whenever it happens. But anyways, that's it. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.